Okay. Well, hello, Alex. Thank you, and welcome to Coffee with Katina.
Thank you, Katina. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Yes, absolutely. I'm glad to have you on. So I'm just going to ask a few informal questions. Just kind of your love for music, your backstory, and things like that. Anything else you want to share? So the first question I'll lead with is what or who has actually inspired you to doing music? How did you actually get into music?
There are a number of people who've inspired me to pursue music. Goodness, I'll have to put credit one person in particular who's a local veteran musician here in Houston, here in town. But he was
Okay.
the first professional musician that I saw, that I got to know and seeing him do music, and I thought, okay, yeah, this guy's doing it and he's doing well. Like there is a path towards a career in music. His name is Marvin Gaspard. He's a brilliant pianist, arranger, composer who's had a lot of music published and still active here in Houston. But I met him when I was an impressionable 13, 14-year-old pianist and met him through a family friend wedding, and he was playing and did all the music, and it was brilliant, and I was, it was just amazed. And so at that age where someone is deciding has a passion or a love for something, the arts, the athletics, whatever, any number of things, um, and seeing that someone can do it or is doing it, that really changes your trajectory and what you're going to study and what you're going to
Of
pursue moving forward.
course. Awesome. He sounds amazing. I haven't heard
Yeah.
of him, but I'll definitely look him up.
Yeah, look him up. I mean, also along with him, there were some very impressionable educators that some I still keep in touch with who were like musical moms to me, and whether they trusted me, pushed me, um, just gave me opportunities, and yeah, really celebrated, and could see the potential in my development. So I credit them as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sounds like you had some good inspiration and some good support
I did.
throughout your career and even just getting started. So that's wonderful. Um, so how has music actually helped you in life or, in general, as far as like,
How did it help me in life?
yeah,
I mean, there's a superficial answer, there's a deep answer.
okay.
I'll start with the superficial one. I have had the privilege of touring and recording with some great artists, legendary artists, and with that came traveling to parts of the country, parts of the world that I never would have imagined visiting, or places that I'd never imagined playing in. So that's something just very directly, what music has afforded me. But another blessing from music is the language that it speaks, when our words fail us.
Absolutely.
Um, there's with and I think with any art form, visual art, goodness, even with food, a chef, I imagine, um, but there have been times um, where I felt, as the kids say today, all the feels, and didn't have the words to really articulate what I was feeling, or maybe didn't even understand what I was feeling, and through music, uh, it was all crystal clear, and maybe it was something just powerful has happened in my life, and I've got to go do a gig, and
Yeah.
or I'm just at home or I'm somewhere and I just sit at the piano, or I'm sitting with pencil and staff paper, and ideas just pour out. So, maybe like a novelist or something, So that's another thing that music gives you, is that other language,
Of
is that other
course.
vehicle of expression.
Of course, I definitely agree with you on that. Music is universal and it does have its own language, um, and that's why we use a lot of it. To express like our emotions and feelings through song, and even if it's through just instrumental, just the expression of how that delivers and composes to other people that you might be feeling. And it sounds like you had it. in more of a therapeutic aspect as well.
Hmm.
Whereas, like, when you're going through or feeling different things or wanting to get some of your thoughts down and processes, you transpose that through song. Is that
Exactly.
right? Good.
Exactly.
That's all right.
Nailed it, Katina.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So, how would you encourage someone who might be interested in going into the music career or maybe, have had some challenges or hesitant to do it, but have a passion to want to do it? What were some of the encouraging words or, things that you could use or say to them to help them along their way or to kind of give them inspiration?
Don't do it. Get a real job. No, just
Ah,
kidding. No. Half, half, half,
okay.
half kidding, half kidding. No. I mean, well, I'll start with and I like to consider myself an optimist, a glass half full kind of guy.
Okay.
But the reality is, and my day job. I mean, I keep very active playing, but my day job is I'm the president of the Houston Professional Musicians Association, so representing our professional musicians who play with the symphony, the opera, the ballet, our Broadway musicians, our freelance musicians. And so a big part of my job is representing them, negotiating for them, bargaining for them, et cetera, serving them. And and so aside from a gig scenario behind a piano, in front of a drum set like this, like I am today, a big part of my job is looking at contracts, looking at figures, looking at negotiating with an arts executive who makes close to seven digits and arguing the case for the professional musician. And the reality is we live in a very challenging climate economically for any profession, for anybody. It's a lot different than when we grew up. And not that it was a cakewalk when we grew up either. But it's tough and not to figuratively, literally or ironically play the violin, but the reality is music and musicians are often the last things to be considered. And so when someone is hiring a musician for their wedding or for a party or for this or that,
Of course.
the value that they give to them is low or remains unchanged from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Oh, $100, right? Or hey, I'll just give you a plate of food and a beer. That's good,
I
right? You don't you love it? Like yeah, we love what we do, but we also have to pay the bills and no matter if you're a brain surgeon or you're a honky tonk singer, things have gotten more expensive. That's just a cold-hearted reality. And
right.
so, yeah, I'm not going to, any young musician, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's hard.
Yes.
And there are so many people going after the same dream that you are going after.
Right.
Um, and they're really good. And maybe they started younger. Maybe they have more money. Maybe they had a better teacher. Maybe they live. And so if you want to go into music, you better really want to go into music. And you better put in the hours. And then also, you better be willing to um, dance a little bit in the sense of like um, go with the flow is, a cliche, but just be willing to adjust to what, yeah, when I was a young kid, that kid, 13, 14 years old. Yeah, I wanted to be a pianist, but what did I know about piano? I was like, okay, well, there's a concert pianist who plays with like the symphony and plays like Carnegie Hall, and that's all I kind of knew from whatever movies or something. And so here I saw this guy like, oh, he does this, and he also writes, and he music directs, and he, publishes, and he, different stuff. And so and that opened my eyes like, oh, I should maybe learn those skills too. So I would tell someone, um, learn different skills within music. I mean, music is such a wide net.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
obviously instruments and styles,
Yes.
but there are so many things, performing, educating, writing, music directing, um, arranging, orchestrating. And and then that's not even talking about doubling, like playing multiple instruments. I play a little guitar, I sing a little bit. And so widening your net or your skill base. Um, I mean, and then the rebuttal to that might be like, no, I just really want to focus on that and I'm really good at that. It's like, okay, good. Then you better be the best in the world. I mean, yeah, because you do have people who are like that. Whatever, Yo-Yo Ma, who's a cellist. Okay, he just plays cello, but he's one of the best in the world. But even
Right.
him, like he's now, his last several albums have been like folk music or with jazz musicians. And so he's like even like, he's not he's already played all the Bach pieces and the cello concertos and all that. Like, okay, now he's like shifting. So just be willing to shift.
Okay. Gotcha. Yes. I think that's wonderful and great advice
Yeah.
on both sides. Of
Yeah.
course, being in the music industry or just doing music itself
Mm.
it has its pros and cons, like any industry, as you mentioned.
I'll
But-
follow it up with one. There was one that was a long answer. Here's the short
oh,
answer.
sure. Okay.
When I was in LA, I
Mhm.
had a mentor for a couple of years. This guy
Mhm.
was did some film scoring
Okay.
with some major films in LA, and he gave me some coaching on writing and orchestrating and stuff like that. And I was asking like, man, how do I get this kind of work, or how come I like? And his two-word advice was this: get good. Period. Just
Absolutely.
whatever you're pursuing, just get good at it. And whenever
Yes.
you get good at something, people will notice you and they'll start calling you.
Yes. 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 I definitely agree with that. And it takes work, like you said before. You have to be dedicated to do this type of work and be in the industry. You have to be persistent and consistent, and work to whatever you need to do to get to that goal. Like I know you also coach as well, right? So
I
being
what?
able to work, you coach as well.
I've done some vocal coaching when I was in New York with like musical theater musicians, and yeah, like when I do musical theater gigs here in town, there's an element of coaching that's involved in that regard.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. So even with that regard, someone who's really serious about it and really, really wanting to get into it and dedicate themselves to it, if you need to get in and do the extra work as far as hiring a coach, to kind of help bridge that gap or perfect or enhance your craft so that you can be good at at what you're trying to do, I think is necessary. And that's something that's encouraged. Some people kind of shy away from it because they're nervous or they discourage themselves, or sometimes we can be our worst critics
Mm-hmm.
to say, oh well, this person is better than me, maybe I shouldn't do it, or
Hmm.
well, I've been doing this and I've been practicing and doing that, and I don't feel like I'm just there yet. So we can be our worst critic, which
Oh,
can hinder
100%.
right trying to go into the industry. So you want to have a positive mindset, as you mentioned, and just know that if this is your passion, if this is something you really want to do, then just go for it. Do the work that it takes to get to where you want to be. And, and I always tell people, I have a tendency to tell people, your fans are going to be your fans. And of course, not everybody is going to always like what you do, but the people that do, these are your fans, and you just continue to work and be better at whatever you're doing for your fans, and that grows, it just grows. So, as you said, Mr. Alex, so wellly put. Yeah, I just got to do it. It's going to be hard work, but if you're dedicated, just got to get in there and just do it and do what it
For
takes to
sure.
do it. Get the help if you need to,
Mm-hmm.
um, and learn your craft.
Mm-hmm. 100.
In saying that, um, is there any links or websites that you would like to share?
Absolutely. Yeah. Shamelessly. I have no shame in plugging myself.
All
Uh,
right.
well, I've my my brand name or tag name is just my name, music, Alex Navarro Music. So website is simply alexnavarromusic.com. Instagram and Facebook, if you just type in Alex Navarro Music, I should come up. Spotify, same thing, Alex Navarro Music. I will say a caveat on Spotify. There is an EDM musician, electronic musician,
Okay.
kind of like Club Mix, who has shares my name. So Spotify has not figured out that we're two different people and two different styles of music. So
Okay.
you'll hear like some piano stuff, and then you'll hear some like I'm the pianist. Forgive any
Right.
confusion there. YouTube page, Alex Navarro Music, same thing. YouTube, I have a lot of uh, videos from artists I've toured with. For example, I worked I was just sharing this video actually recently. I toured for a while with Queen Latifah as her keyboardist, and we did the
Okay.
American Music Awards several years ago. And so there's a video of us from the American Music Awards. I toured
Okay.
with Carly Simon. There's a music video we did years ago, and so yeah, just various content from tours and gigs from very different artists, and also projects of mine. I have about 4 albums out that I have that are on Spotify, and some of them have videos too.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. I have one more question I'm going to throw out at you since you kind of mentioned that. It, in your experience so far being in the industry, what are some of the good takes that you've experienced and have actually inquired being in this industry and working with some of the artists that you have? What are some of the things that you would maybe share with
Well,
the
I'm sorry,
audience?
good takes?
Yeah,
What do
so
you
like
mean by
some
that?
good experience,
Oh,
like
good
some of the
experience.
good experiences that you've had. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, there are several. There's one that always comes to mind. So I toured for almost 10 years as the music director for Engelbert Humperdinck. He's more our parents' or grandparents' generation. He's still alive, God bless him. He's like in his late 80s now, but he was big in the 70s and early, well, goodness, late 60s, 70s, and even early 80s. Crooner, famous crooner from England. He and Tom Jones kind of started together under the same manager.
Okay.
And so I was his music director and pianist for almost 10 years, played on about 5 albums of his. And with him, I toured literally the world. There was one stretch where I kid you not, I think I have it on my Facebook as an album, a photo album. We went to 6 continents in 6 weeks.
Wow,
I
that's a
mean,
lot.
everywhere, like North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, all within less than a month
Yeah.
and a half. I mean, yeah, you can imagine like I was, airline status through the roof and jet lagged and just like what city, country, time zone are we in?
Okay.
Hemisphere. So that was exciting. But with him, there was one of the albums we did that I'm really proud of this work. It was an album he released in 2007 called Winding Road. And it's an
Okay.
album of all songs by British artists.
Okay.
And we recorded in LA at most of the recording was done at the famous Capitol Records building, the one that always gets blown up in those apocalyptic movies, right?
Okay.
So we recorded, I mean, just being there, like goodness, like that, the Beach Boys, Nat King Cole, who hadn't recorded there? It's like legendary, right? Studio. So I'm there with some of First Call LA orchestral musicians, and great session. Um, the album did great, and that song we did. The song specifically that I recorded was a medley of the Beatles' "The Long and Winding Road," with
Okay.
medleyed with "Where Is Love" from the musical Oliver, an English.
Okay.
So, anyways, we ended up doing that on the road for a good couple of years at least. But one show in particular, we did a whole week with the Omaha Symphony. They're in Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay.
Rehearsed with
Okay.
them for a couple of days, and then like any symphony, you go to see the Houston Symphony, they play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or sometimes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can catch an evening, a matinee, whatever. So we're there all week in Omaha. Um, the last closing show was Sunday matinee, and that happened to be my birthday. And
Okay.
there was something just really, and obviously, like, and Engelbert was, credit to him, he was very thoughtful. After the show, he presented me a very nice bottle of wine and a thoughtful card. Um, and yeah, obviously, I didn't expect him during the show to announce, "Hey, it's my musical director's birthday today." Like, but what a gift it was to write something, record it, um, perform it with a world-class symphony and
Okay.
do it on my birthday. It was truly a
Wonderful. That
gift.
sounds exciting. So, before you go, what are some of the things, because it sounds like you have a really busy schedule.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you actually do to kind of balance that? As far as like, do you take some time, like breathing exercises, or you
Mm,
take some downtime and just do some self-care? Like,
yeah.
I'm not doing anything at all for this day or this
Uh,
week, or
no illegal vices, I assure you. No.
okay,
No. That's a good question. Reading or walking, or just listening to other people perform other music and stuff like that really
love
helps
that,
me.
love that, love that.
Eating.
All right, eating. Okay,
Yeah.
not everything, right?
Yeah. No. Just
Not meat. Okay, not like
just
meat, the bad
everything
meat.
that's placed in front of me.
It's not good. All right. Well, Alex, thank you so much again for coming on the show. I really love
No, thank
having
you, Katina, for
you.
having
Giving
me.
some great advice. Absolutely, absolutely. Anytime. And hopefully we can do this again
I would
soon.
love that. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye bye now.
Bye bye.